She was called the Boko Haram girl, but that's not the truth about her. What would you do if your faith was tested by fear, loss, and pain? What if everything you loved was taken from you in a single night? This isn't just a sad story. It's a story of redemption, of a young woman wounded on the outside, but healed from within. Stay until the end. You'll understand why Esther is a living miracle. Esther was a normal Nigerian teenager. She was 17, went to school every day, helped her mother at home, and joyfully attended church services. She dreamed of becoming a teacher, starting a family, and believed that her faith in God was enough to protect her from all harm. She lived with her parents and siblings in Gwoza, a small and humble town in northeastern Nigeria. Life wasn't easy, but she was grateful for the little things. A meal with her family, bedtime prayers with her mom, singing in the church choir. But everything changed one night in 2015. Esther had a fever and stayed home while many villagers fled, fearing an attack. She dozed off for a few minutes. When she woke up, everything was on fire. The extremist group Boko Haram had invaded the town. Armed men with cold eyes and cruel hearts broke into homes, destroyed everything, and took whoever they wanted. Esther's father was killed that night. She tried to run, but was caught by 3 men. Alongside other girls and women, she was thrown into a truck. They didn't know where they were going. They only knew the nightmare was just beginning. They were taken to the Sambisa forest, one of Boko Haram's strongholds. They walked for days under the scorching sun, without food, water, or rest. Esther thought, "God, where are you? Why is this happening to me?" She cried silently, begging for a miracle. But the miracle didn't come. Not yet. When they reached the forest, the women were separated. Some were handed over as wives to the group's leaders. Others were forced to work as slaves. Esther was given to one of the most violent men in the militia. He called her "my wife," but she knew the truth. She was a prisoner. In captivity, Esther lived through the darkest days of her life. She was forced to cook, clean, and care for children that weren't hers. But the worst part wasn't the work. It was the constant abuse. Her husband, as he called himself, raped her over and over again. She didn't know if it was day or night anymore. She cried without making a sound, afraid of being beaten. Her body weakened day by day. Each assault left a deeper wound, not just on her skin, but in her soul. She whispered prayers through tears. "Lord, please take me out of here. Please save me. I can't take this anymore." Still, Esther never stopped speaking to God. She'd say, "I know you haven't abandoned me. I still believe you'll get me out of here." Something deep inside wouldn't let her faith die, even when everything else seemed lost. One night, she heard gunfire in the distance. A rival group had attacked their camp. Her abuser was killed in the chaos. For the first time, Esther saw a chance to escape. She joined a group of girls, and terrified but determined, they ran into the forest. For 3 days, they wandered. No food, no water, no destination. Their feet were blistered, their bodies weak, and their hearts racing with fear. On the 3rd day, Nigerian soldiers found them. Esther collapsed in the arms of one of the soldiers. When she woke up, she was in a military base surrounded by other women like her. But the pain wasn't over yet. At the military shelter, Esther thought she was finally safe. But reality was different. The center was overcrowded, more than 500 women sleeping in a single hall. There was mistrust in the air. Many believed the returning women were Boko Haram wives, not victims. She heard people say, "They're not innocent, they're part of it." Esther's heart broke all over again. She wasn't just a survivor now. She was being judged. Later, she was taken back to her hometown. She hoped her family would welcome her with joy, but that's not what happened. Her mother hugged her in tears, but neighbors whispered, "That's the Boko Haram girl." Even worse, her daughter, born from the rape, was cruelly nicknamed the child of the enemy. Rejection surrounded her on all sides. Esther thought about giving up. She couldn't sleep. She had nightmares. She felt ashamed of her body, her story, and who she had become. Then, A church missionary invited her to a support group for survivors. There, she heard stories just like hers. For the first time, she didn't feel alone. During one session, the women were asked to write down their pain on a piece of paper, place it at the foot of a cross, and burn it, symbolizing surrender to God. Esther cried like never before. She felt something leave her chest, and she prayed, "Lord, I give it all to you. I don't want to carry this anymore. Help me forgive. Help me start again." After that encounter, Esther was never the same. Her story still carried pain, but now she knew there was life after trauma. And more than that, she had a purpose. She began sharing her story in small church groups. Many women cried as they listened. Some said, "If you made it through, then maybe I can too." Esther felt that her pain now had meaning. She went back to school. She started caring for the daughter she once struggled to look at. The child grew up happy, unaware of her past, surrounded by a mother's love transformed by faith. Years later, Esther was invited to share her testimony at an international event. Standing in front of hundreds, she said, "They destroyed my body, but they couldn't destroy my spirit. I am living proof that Jesus can heal the impossible." Today, Esther is a symbol of restoration in her community. She leads support groups for women who've faced violence. She teaches about faith, healing, and most of all, the power of forgiveness. She says, "Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It means the pain no longer controls me. I chose life. I chose Jesus." Maybe you're also carrying deep pain, a betrayal, a loss, a trauma that never leaves. But Esther's story proves that God never abandons his children, even when the world goes dark. He turns tears into strength, shame into purpose, and wounds into testimonies. The forgiveness Esther gave didn't erase what happened, but it set her heart free to live again. And maybe, right now, the Holy Spirit is inviting you to do the same. Let go of what's holding you back, release who hurt you, and let yourself start over in the arms of the Father. Were you touched by this story? Then like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel for more real stories of faith, healing, and miracles. Leave a comment below. I choose to forgive, and let's spread this chain of healing and hope together.